the Financial Survival Network, helping you to survive and thrive in the new economy. To find out where to buy gold and silver reliably at great prices, go get your free Financial Survival Toolkit at financialsurvivalnetwork.com. You'll also get our complimentary newsletter. This is the Financial Survival Network.
1490 WGCH. This is Kerry Lutz, and you're listening to the Financial Survival Network, which is brought to you by Miles Franklin. They've been in business selling gold and silver for over 20 years, and I'm a customer because when you buy, they ship. For more information, find them on the web at milesfranklin.com or give them a call at 800-822-8080 and get a free quote. It is June 28th, 2012, a day that will forever live in infamy. Obamacare is now the law of the land. Mandatory broccoli consumption, vitamin consumption, and lots more are coming down the pike because government always knows what's best for you and isn't shy in the era of unlimited government of letting you know about it. Dr. Yaron Brook of the Ayn Rand Institute for Individual Rights is back with us to do a postmortem of it and what it really means to you, the country, and the world. Hey, Yaron, welcome back to the Financial Survival Network. It's been a while, but this is really an appropriate time to talk, isn't it?
It really is. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, so is broccoli on your menu for lunch, or you going to just tell the government to take this Obamacare and shove it?
Well, I'll just have to pay the mandate or the tax or whatever they're calling it these days in order to allow me not to eat broccoli, I guess. But look, this is one more event in a series of rulings by the courts and laws by our Congress over the last 100 years that have basically set up an unlimited government, a government that has no respect for economic rights, that doesn't believe we have economic rights, and views itself as completely legitimate in regulating, controlling every aspect of our lives. And, this shouldn't be viewed as something new. This shouldn't be viewed as this is momentous. I think if they had overturned the mandate, it would have been momentous in the sense that it would have been the first time in a very long time that a Supreme Court has stood and said government is limited. But the ruling that government is unlimited, that we have no economic rights, that's just, one in a long, long string of rulings that just adds up to this. I mean, let's remember that these mandates already exist. I mean, our tax code is full of ways in which the government is trying to get us to buy a home and get a mortgage. We get a tax deduction if we do that. Do certain things and not do other things. So the government is already controlling many, many aspects of our lives. Certainly if we're a business, it regulates every aspect of our activity. This is one more nail in the coffin of individual economic liberty.
Yeah, and let's not forget, through Medicare and Medicaid, the government's already controlling over 50% of healthcare expenditures in the U.S. anyway. So now they're going for the whole pie. What is really the difference other than people really hate this thing and it's going to cause them to not be able to choose their own doctors? It's going to result in these death panels that say, you know what, Yaron, you're getting up there in your years. You have depleted your value, your economic value to society. So no heart transplant, no triple bypass for you. It's going to come down to that, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's going to happen anyway. Obamacare or no Obamacare, it's going to come to that because Medicare is unsustainable. And you're right. The government already controls 50% of all healthcare dollars in the U.S. And within a few years, it'll be a lot more than that as the population ages, and more of us, fall under Medicare. Death panels are an inevitable consequence of the government getting involved in providing health care to the elderly. What Obamacare does is expand kind of the arm of government into all of our lives, whereas right now, government health care is primarily for those over the age of 65. Now all of us are part of it. And really, look, my view is that Obamacare was set up on purpose to fail. It is a stupid law. It's not sustainable. The insurance companies are going to go bankrupt. And who's going to be blamed for the collapse of American healthcare? Private enterprise, insurance companies. And all Obamacare is a prelude to single-payer government-run healthcare across the board. And that's where we're heading. I don't think Republicans are competent or capable of stopping that trend because they have no principles on which to stand to kind of stop it. We're heading towards single-payer, and that is a disaster. It's a disaster for us, for everybody who lives in this country. And in a funny kind of silly way, it's a disaster for the rest of the world because the fact is that most medical innovation, most new drugs, more medical devices, new procedures are invented here in the United States because we still have a sliver of freedom in healthcare. With single payer, all innovation will cease, and the rest of the world will suffer with us into a decaying and declining healthcare regime. And this is just one more way in which Western civilization is going to be in decline. We're going to be, healthcare and the demographics of an aging population are going to be part of what kind of ultimately is going to lead to destruction of the West unless we wake up. And people are saying don't advocate for repeal and replace because it's only repeal. No, we should repeal and replace. Obamacare has to go, but the Republicans have to offer a pro-free market alternative, and that is the only way we avoid single payer. We need to find ways to privatize Medicare and Medicaid and get out of the business of government-run health care across the board, and that is the only thing that can save us. And that should be the rallying call. In this coming elections.
Yeah, and it's a deeper issue. It's a moral question. I just interviewed somebody Father Robert A. Sirico, and we talked about the morality of capitalism as opposed to the out-and-out immorality of socialism. And until this question gets addressed from a moral standpoint, we're not really going to get to the bottom of it, are we?
Absolutely. This is a moral issue, and of course, I'm not sure that Father Siric and I would agree on what the moral issue is exactly, but we agree that it is about morality. And, I think I tweeted earlier today, and your listeners can follow me on Twitter at Yaron Brook. I tweeted today that it really is a question of is your life yours to live? Is your life, do you have an individual right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Or are you your brother's keeper? In other words, are you your brother's slave? Is your life is your moral duty to help your brother? Do you owe your life to the tribe, the group, the community, America, whatever? That is the fundamental question. And you know that I come down strongly on your life is yours. Your moral responsibility is to yourself to live your life, the best life that you can live. You do not owe anything to your brother other than to leave him alone. You can help your brother. It's fine to help your brother, but you don't owe him that help. And that is the fundamental. If you owe your brother your help, then all the government is doing by intervening is just helping you along, is making sure that you do what is morally right. We need to advocate against the whole philosophy of your brother keeper. We need to advocate for a philosophy of individualism. Your life is yours to live as you see fit.
And that leads to the next question. We're both going to Freedom Fest on July 11th in Vegas this year, and it'll probably be bigger than ever. What do you think the energy level is going to be like at the show this year?
Well, I haven't been to, this is my first one, so it's hard for me to think the energy levels is going to be high. I think the one thing that this ruling will do, I hope, is to energize those forces that are pro-liberty, to energize them to advocate not just for repeal, but for free market health care, but not just for free market health care, to advocate for freedom, to advocate for individual rights, to advocate for limited government. The freedom movement needs to understand that this is a philosophical, ethical war that we are fighting, and that we need the tools in order to fight that, which means we need philosophy, we need morality on our side. And, I believe that Ayn Rand has those tools, and we need to adopt those tools because I think the liberty movement has lost big time over the last 100 years, and I think it's lost because it has granted the left the moral high ground, and we need to take the moral high ground away from the left. We need to advocate for individual rights. We need to advocate for the rights of individuals to live their lives for themselves, and we need to advocate it on moral terms, that your life is yours, that you do not owe your life to other people. That charity is an optional thing. It is not a moral duty. Your moral duty is to live life to the fullest. And, that is the kind of argument that needs to be heard more at places like Freedom Fest. That is the moral argument that needs to be heard more, in those channels that are advocating for liberty. And if it's not, if we keep granting the left the moral high ground, we will see a greater and greater and greater erosion of individual liberty in the future.
I just want to tell you a little anecdote. In my town, which I've been spearheading, is to get rid of lifetime health care paid for by the taxpayer for all former retired employees. So it's an incremental approach, just like an incremental approach got us to where we are. So they vote to make retirees pay 15% of their health insurance premiums, which the town now pays 100% of. And two of the members on the board talk about the moral high ground. How can you allow a 90-year-old person who's on a fixed income, and you're going to cost them $62 a month, and it's really not going to help the town that much anyway? And I just got up and I said, you guys are parasites. You're expecting to live off of the rest of us, free of all burdens for the rest of your life. You're parasites. Whatever happened to make your own way, self-reliance? There's no justification for this. And, they were appalled.
The real question is, why is it right to enslave a 22-year-old to that 92-year-old? Okay, so the 92-year-old is going to have a hard time. I acknowledge that. But why is it right to turn the 22-year-old who's into his slave, basically into demanding that the 22-year-old pay health insurance for the 91-year-old? I mean, that is the issue. This is an issue of slavery. This is an issue of is your life yours? If the 22-year-old owes his life, owes his income to the 90-year-old, then his life's not his. His life belongs to the community to be decided on as it will. He can then be required to pay for anything for anybody at any time. And that's the battle. You're absolutely right. This is a moral battle, and it has to be fought at every level, at a local level, at every level in which government is present. But it's not just government. This has to be fought in the schools, at the universities, everywhere. Just because you're old, just because you're suffering, just because you're poor, just because you can't afford something does not give you a right to my stuff. I mean, if you're old and you can't afford health insurance, you can come and ask me for help. You have no right to pull a gun and force me to help you. And all government is doing is behaving like a mafia. It is pulling the gun on behalf of the so-called poor and old and unhealthy to force me to do something I don't want to do. And that is fundamentally, morally, ethically wrong.
Hey, and don't forget that there's all these Medicare trusts, ways that people who are getting older transfer their assets out of their own name so that if they do need care, they can become wards of the state, and you and I get to pay for it. So it's even worse. I don't want to pay for my health care. I'm going to hide my assets or transfer them in such a way so that you will have to pay for them. And that way I get to leave my kids my stuff, and then they come with a gun and take your stuff to pay for me. That's really immoral. That's worse than anything, and that's the case with a lot of wealthier.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's right, but you know what? I don't care. That is, to me, even if you're poor and you're retired, and we have a system that allows you to live off of young people, and that is just wrong. And it doesn't matter what your financial situation is. It doesn't matter who you are. You have no right to young people's stuff, to the young people's lives, because that's what money is. I mean, money is life, right? I mean, we work, which is time, which is our life, We get money in order to buy food and in order to survive. That is our life. Money is our life. When you take our money, you're taking our life. Nobody has a right to do that, and it doesn't matter how much you need it. This is the essential moral point. Need does not create a claim against other people. Just because I need health care doesn't mean you have to provide it. Just because I need a better car doesn't mean somebody else has to provide it. Just because I need food doesn't mean somebody else has to provide it. And this is the underlying assumption of the welfare state. The welfare state is basically a state based on the philosophy of need, that need creates a moral duty, that somebody's need creates a moral duty on me to provide that need. And that is what needs to be smashed, destroyed, annihilated. Somebody's need is not a claim against my life. I get to choose what to do with my life. Your need is your problem, your responsibility. Again, you can come ask me for help. I might help you. I might not help you. But it's not a claim on me. And don't use the government to bring out the big guns to force me to help you, which is what's happening every single day in America today.
Yeah, all of this governmental altruism is always at the barrel of a gun, and it's basically picking winners and losers, saying other people's needs are paramount to your needs, and you are forced to contribute to them to your own personal detriment. And that really is immoral. It used to be illegal, and the Constitution was created to prevent that exact series of events from occurring.
That's absolutely right, but let's remember that altruism is evil even when voluntary. It is a rejection of life, and voluntary altruism ultimately always leads to involuntary altruism.
Yeah, which is where we're at now. So,
yes,
Yaron, to find out more about you, Ayn Rand Institute, where should we go? AynRandInstitute.org or AynRand.org, AYNRAND.org. You can follow me on Twitter at Yaron, Y-A-R-O-N, Brook, B-R-O-O-K. You can follow me on Facebook, Brook, and I have a blog, capitalism.aynrand.org. So come follow us on the blog, and I've got a new book coming out, Free Market Revolution. It's available already for pre-order on Amazon. All right, excellent. We'll see you in Vegas, and be well, and we'll use this as a rallying cry rather than a major defeat, because it's really just on the path to servitude. It's not anything else. So, all right, Yaron.
Good.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah, bye.
Take care.